show you a quick and easy mod you guys can do to an S55 engine to open up the stock air boxes and not have to spend money, $400 or $500, sometimes $1,000 on new intakes. And these actually flow a lot better than a lot of the aftermarket intakes out there. So what we're going to be doing is taking out both of the air boxes, stock air boxes, and Swiss cheesing the entire bottom of it, just cutting out as much material as we can. We don't want to cut the top of the air box, obviously, because that's where the filter sits and you'll have unfiltered air. But we want to open up the bottom of that and try to get as much airflow as we can. Because the stock air boxes have a large surface area and bigger diameter inlets than a lot of the aftermarket intakes, these are a great choice to modify versus having to spend hundreds of dollars on aftermarket intakes. One disclaimer here, I'm not gonna take credit for this mod. There was a guy that did a bunch of pulls in 3 or 4 different intake configurations, both aftermarket and stock, and he determined with the Draghi app that these had the best, I think it was like 60 to 130 timed runs. I'm not sure that on a bone stock car this is really going to yield any results, because the inlets going from the front grille area to the intake itself, or the air box itself, it's pretty decent size, but once you start modding the car and adding down pipes, charge pipes, and MHD stage 2 plus like me, any more airflow out of these air boxes is definitely welcomed. People have reported better throttle response, better mid-range power, so we're gonna see if that's true today. So if you haven't worked on these cars, it's a bit of a pain to take the air boxes out. This side I think you can get out without taking this brace off, but there's a second inlet here that's completely blocked by this carbon fiber piece. So we're gonna take that off first so we can get this entire intake pipe off. We can get to our strut tower brace. So there's 3 bolts here, 2 in the front, and then a couple other on the other side. Now that we got that off, I'm gonna just try to open up these air boxes just to see if I can pull this up enough and just take the bottom piece out without taking the entire assembly off. It's just will be a lot easier. Okay, and actually for you guys in the US, there's a second free mod you can do. If you look under the cover here, you'll see this big charcoal filter. This is a US emissions regulation thing, and the Euro cars actually don't have this. And it's just one more restriction in the air box we can delete. I still have the stock filters that BMW provides. Yeah, these are OEM parts. But you can add drop-in filters that are washable and that breathe a little bit better to get even more airflow. So that's one thing I'd recommend doing. I don't have those to install today, but I will eventually be adding that to the modifications. One of the air boxes is out, and you can see that there's these little rubber grommets that kind of hold it in. So once you got the top lid off, all you have to do is pull it right out. Essentially, I drew out where I'm going to cut my holes in the bottom of this air box here. What you want to do essentially is, this is where the air comes in the front. So you're going to want to cut here to let extra air in, cut a little slot here, and then one more on this side, and then one on the bottom too. This is called an oscillating multi-tool. You can use a Dremel as well, but I really like this tool for clean cuts, and this blade allows you to cut nice and straight. You can also cut corners as well if you kind of angle a certain way, and you can kind of cut into it. So it's a really great tool. I actually cut the hood vents out in my Corvette, which were made out of fiberglass, and this did a really great job of cutting that as well, making really clean cuts. All right, I admit the cuts could have been a little bit cleaner, but so there's the intake side, and I just started cutting windows in the plastic, and then one on the bottom. And then same with this other guy here. So it's pretty much hollowed out. All the airflow you could possibly get into this thing is now available. All right, car's back together. Really the only thing I can probably look at is like the MHD logs to see if there's more airflow. Maybe look at the mass airflow sensor readings to see if there's more air coming in. It's really the only definitive way. But if you look at that forum post, I'm gonna link down in the description. He goes into a detailed analysis of why he thinks this mod actually delivers more power and more airflow, and not just butt dyno readings. Like I was saying, I think just those charcoal filters alone will be a pretty big difference, but let's see what we got here. It actually almost already seems like there's more throttle response, but it's really hard to tell. Get the car warmed up a little bit here. Curious to see if there's a little bit more turbo noise like you would hear with an aftermarket intake, so that's a interesting thing to check out. And you can actually hear the turbos a little bit more. Seem quite a bit more peppy, that's for sure. Curious to see what the MHD logs look like. I don't want to beat on it too hard yet, it's still a cold engine. This is actually my first time filming with a big suction cup mount on the window, so I guess let me know in the comments what you guys think of this style video. Try to keep the window open here so you guys can hear some engine sounds, but pulls a lot harder. I don't think that's just a placebo. I think between the charcoal filters and porting the bottom of that, oof. That's interesting. It was spinning tire in like third gear right there. That was wild. Now this MHD Stage 2 Plus right now should be running close to like 30 pounds of boost on stock turbos, which is actually kind of crazy. Dang. Yeah, it pulls harder for sure. I've had this car for probably like 6 months on the Stage 2 Plus tune and stock intake, so I pretty much have a good idea of like how the car drives and reacts, and I can definitely say it's a little more lively for sure. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. I know this was a kind of short video, but if you've never come to the channel before, if you'd like to subscribe, that'd be really cool. I might make some M4 content. I haven't really done a lot of videos on this car, and there's a lot of potential still in this thing. I might upgrade the turbos eventually, do a whole bunch of like handling and suspension work, so there's a lot more to come with this chassis, that's for sure. Even in stock form, this thing is like absolutely amazing. It rips. There's like a tune on stock turbos making like close to 600. It's nuts. I mean, cars these days are just insane.